everybody. Today we are going to study about the pons. Okay, another part of the brainstem. I've already discussed about the brainstem. The brainstem consists of three parts, isn't it? The midbrain, the pons, and the medulla, isn't it? So we have already studied about the medulla oblongata, and this brainstem is a structure which connects the cerebrum with the spinal cord, isn't it? It is the uh, junction between the cerebrum and the spinal cord, or it connects, and there are many ascending and descending tracts which pass through this brain stem, isn't it? And now individually we are studying about the medulla, the pons, and the midbrain. So we have already completed about the medulla. I hope you have understood. If you have any difficulties, you can always ask your difficulties. Now today we are going to study about the pons. Okay? The word pons means bridge. Got it? In Latin, this word pons it means bridge, and it is a structure which connects the midbrain to the medulla. Got it? Pons is a structure which connects the midbrain to the medulla, and the most important thing is the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and the eighth cranial nerves arise from the pons. Got it? The fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and the eighth cranial nerves, they arise from the pons. When I teach you the structure, I will let you know about the how they are originating. Now, first of all, the structure of the pons. Okay. First of all, the structure of the pons. As I told you, it is bridge shape. It looks like a bridge, like this. Got it? It looks like a bridge, like this. Got it? So this is how the pons is situated. Okay? It looks like the bridge. And the features of this pons are, it consists of two borders. The superior border, got it? The superior border and the inferior border. Got it? The superior border and the inferior border. The superior border is continuous, or it is lying at the level of, or it is joined with the crus cerebri. It is fused with the, or it is connected to the crus cerebri of midbrain. The inferior border is continuous with the medulla oblongata. The inferior border it is fused with the medulla oblongata. Okay, so the superior border you can say is related to the crus cerebri, and the inferior border is related to the medulla oblongata. Got it? Inferior border of the medulla oblongata. Okay, then it has got two surfaces. The anterior surface, the one which you can see, and the posterior surface. Got it? It has got an anterior surface and the posterior surface. And on the lateral part, got it? The lateral part of the pons continues as the, got it? Continues as the middle cerebellar peduncle. Got it? It continues as the middle cerebellar peduncle. Got it? It continues as the middle cerebellar peduncle, because the cerebellum consists of three peduncles, isn't it? Which is connected to the midbrain, pons, and medulla. The superior cerebellar peduncle is connected to the midbrain. The middle cerebellar peduncle is connected to the pons, and the inferior cerebellar peduncle is connected to the medulla oblongata. So see here, this middle cerebellar peduncle is this portion which is connecting the cerebellum with the pons. Okay, it has got two surfaces, the anterior surface and the posterior surface. Along the anterior surface vertically, there is presence of a sulcus. Got it? In the midline. Got it? Anteriorly, okay, in the midline, there is presence of a sulcus which is called as the basilar sulcus. Got it? Anteriorly, in the midline, there is presence of a sulcus which is called as the basilar sulcus, and in this basilar sulcus, got it, lies the basilar artery. Got it? In this basilar sulcus lies the basilar artery. So this is the sulcus for basilar artery. Okay, this is the sulcus or the basilar artery. So to repeat again, pons is a part of midbrain. Got it? It is a sorry, not a part of midbrain. It is a part of brainstem. Got it? Pons is a part of brainstem. The brainstem consists of three parts: the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla. Okay, we have already studied about the medulla. So today we will see about the pons. Pons is also an a structure that is situated in the posterior cranial fossa. It is also an infratentorial structure, and anteriorly it is related to the clivus and posteriorly to the cerebellum. Got it? Posteriorly to the cerebellum. Okay? Then it is so called as pons because it looks like a bridge. In Latin, the word pons means bridge. Got it? In Latin, the word pons means bridge. So because it looks like a bridge, it is called as the pons. It is situated in the posterior cranial fossa. Got it? It is an infratentorial structure. It is part of brainstem. It connects the midbrain with the medulla. It connects the midbrain with the medulla. Got it? The features of the pons are it consists of two arteries and two surfaces. Got it? It consists of two arteries and two surfaces. The two boundaries, the two borders. Got it? It consists of two borders and two surfaces. The two borders are the superior border and the inferior border. Got it? The superior border and the inferior border. The superior border, it is continuous with the crus cerebri of midbrain. The superior border is related to the crus cerebri of the midbrain, and the inferior border is related to the medulla. The inferior border is related to the medulla. Then this bridge is present in the middle. So the one which we see here is the anterior surface, and behind this is the posterior surface. So suppose if the bridge is this, so this is the anterior surface and this is the posterior surface. Okay, so it has got two surfaces, and the lateral part of the pons, it is fused with the middle cerebellar peduncle, or it is continuous with the middle cerebellar peduncle. The anterior surface, the feature of the anterior surface over here is the anterior surface. There is in the midline, there is presence of a sulcus, and this sulcus is called as the basilar sulcus. Got it? This sulcus is called as the basilar sulcus, and in this basilar sulcus, got it? In this basilar sulcus lodges the basilar artery. Got it? In this basilar sulcus lodges the basilar artery. Now, last time also I showed you about the nerves. Now, the importance of the surface over here is, okay, the importance of the surface over here is there is origin of the cranial nerves. Got it? There is origin of the cranial nerves, and which are those cranial nerves? It is the fifth cranial nerve, that is the trigeminal nerve. It is the sixth cranial nerve, that is the abducent nerve. It is the seventh cranial nerve, that is the seventh cranial nerve, that is the facial nerve, and the eighth cranial nerve, which is the vestibulocochlear nerve. Got it? The seventh cranial nerve, which is the vestibulocochlear nerve. So you have the trigeminal nerve, the abducent nerve, the facial nerve, and the vestibulocochlear nerve, or the auditory nerve, or the statoacoustic nerve. Whatever you say is okay. Okay? Now I will just show you how these nerves are originated. At the junction of the middle cerebellar peduncle and the pons. Got it? Body of the pons. Over here at the junction of the middle, so it has a small motor root and a large sensory root. Got it? It has a small motor root and a large sensory root. Got it? The trigeminal nerve, it originates from the anterior surface of the pons by two roots. Got it? It originates by two roots, that is the small motor root and the large sensory root. The small motor root and the large sensory root together gives origin to the trigeminal nerve or the fifth cranial nerve. What it gives origin to the trigeminal nerve or the fifth cranial nerve. So see, this is the area where the trigeminal nerve originates. On either side of this basilar sulcus, got it? At the junction of the pons and medulla. At the junction of the pons and medulla along the anterior surface, there is origin of the sixth cranial nerve, that is the abducent nerve. Got it? That is the origin of the abducent nerve. And over here at the junction and the inferior border of pons, Got it? And upper part of medulla is the origin of 7th cranial nerve and the 8th cranial nerve. So see, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. These nerves are originating from the pons. So the trigeminal nerve, the abducent nerve, the facial nerve, and the auditory nerve or the statoacoustic or the vestibulocochlear nerve. Whatever you say is correct. So see, from the anterior surface, these are the nerves which are originating, and on the lateral side, the pons continues as the middle cerebellar peduncle. Got it? It continues as the middle cerebellar peduncle. Okay? Now the importance over here is you have to remember this small motor root and the large sensory root, because when I will teach you the trigeminal nerve, that time you should remember this. Now the pons consists of two parts. It consists of two parts, the basilar part and the tegmental. Got it? The basilar part is this. Got it? The basilar part is this and the remaining is the tegmental part. The basilar part is this and the remaining part is the tegmental part. Okay? Okay? The basilar part of the pons has uniform structure throughout its length, whereas the structure of the tegmental part in the upper part of the is present in the upper part of the pons. The pons, like the other structures, consists of white matter and the grey matter. Got it? It consists of the white matter and the grey matter. Okay? Now one more thing which I will tell you is, because I want to draw diagram to show you. Earlier while teaching the fourth ventricle, isn't it? Earlier while teaching the fourth ventricle, I did tell you about the relations, isn't it? I did tell you about the relations, isn't it? So, since it is lying in the posterior cranial fossa, you have the midbrain. This is the section, the pons and the medulla, isn't it? This is how we had drawn the diagram. Then behind this lies the fourth ventricle, isn't it? And then behind this lies the cerebellum. Got it? Behind this lies the cerebellum. So this is the midbrain, this is the pons, this is the medulla, this is the fourth ventricle, and this is the cerebellum, isn't it? Cerebellum, isn't it? So this is this. So the anteriorly, got it? Anteriorly, what did I tell you? Anteriorly, the pons is related to the basilar part, isn't it? It is related to the basilar part, and posteriorly, it is opening into the upper part of the fourth ventricle. Got it? Posteriorly, the pons, it is opening into the upper part of the fourth ventricle. Okay? Now, the internal structure of the pons. The internal structure of the pons. The internal structure of the pons is first of all, we draw the structure of pons. Okay, this is the internal structure of the pons. Okay, then over here you have the superior cerebellar peduncle. This is the lateral ventricle. Got it? This is the lateral ventricle. This is the middle cerebellar peduncle. This is the superior cerebellar peduncle. This is the middle cerebellar peduncle. This is the fourth ventricle. Got it? This is the fourth ventricle. Okay? This is the fourth ventricle. Okay? Then over here we have the various lamellus. Okay? We have the, and this is the basilar sulcus. Got it? This is the basilar sulcus. This is the basilar sulcus. Now, what all things we are having over here? First of all, at the level of middle cerebellar peduncle, we will have a motor root and a sensory root. Got it? Like this. Got it? Motor root and the sensory root, which gives origin to the trigeminal nerve. On both the sides, it will be the same. Got it? On both the sides, it will be the same. So this is the origin of the trigeminal nerve with the motor root and the sensory root. Got it? Motor root and the sensory root. Okay. Then we have the bundles. Got it? We have the bundles which are present over here. Just below the fourth ventricle, we have the medial longitudinal bundles. Got it? We have the medial longitudinal bundles. Okay? Medial longitudinal bundles. Okay? On both these sides, we have the medial longitudinal bundles. Then over here, we have the corpus trapezoidum. Since it is like a trapezium, it is called as corpus trapezoidum. Corpus trapezoidum. Okay. Then on either side of the corpus trapezoidum, you got it? We have the medial lemniscus on both the sides. Got it? Medial lemniscus. We have the medial lemniscus. Then next to that, we have the trigeminal lemniscus on both the sides. Got it? Trigeminal lemniscus. We have the trigeminal lemniscus. We have still lateral to that the spinal lemniscus. Got it? Spinal lemniscus. Got it? And then lateral most portion is the lateral lemniscus. Lateral lemniscus. Lateral lemniscus. Okay? Then lateral lemniscus. Okay? Then we have below this over here we have the fibers. Got it? We have the various nuclei of the pons that are present. Like we have the various nuclei that are present over here in the lower part of the pons. Got it? So these are the pontine. These are the pontine nucleus. Got it? These are the pontine nucleus which are present over here. Okay, these are the pontine nucleus that are present over here, and here we have the transverse fibers. Here lower down we have the transverse fibers. Okay, we have the transverse fibers. So when you take a cut section in the upper part of the pons, when you take the cut section in the upper part of the pons, what you will see? You will see the superior cerebellar peduncle. You will see the lateral ventricle, section of the lateral ventricle. Then you will see, got it, the medial longitudinal bundles. Got it? You will see the medial longitudinal bundles. You will see the medial cerebellar peduncle on either side. Then just near to the medial cerebellar peduncles, you will see the root of the trigeminal nerve. You will see the root of the trigeminal nerve, and below the medial longitudinal bundles, you will have the transverse longitudinal bundles. Got it? You will have the transverse longitudinal bundles, and these are the lemnisci which are present. Got it? These are the lemnisci which are present. In the median area, there will be the corpus or the trapezoid process, you can see. Got it? Corpus trapezoidum or trapezoid process. On either side of this trapezoid process, you will have the medial lemniscus, the trigeminal lemniscus, the spinal lemniscus, and the lateral lemniscus. Got it? Medial lemniscus, trigeminal lemniscus, spinal lemniscus, and the lateral lemniscus. Okay? and then below this lemnisci you will have the pontine many nuclei which are scattered. They are present over here in the lower part of the pons, and they are called as the pontine nucleus. Got it? They are called as the pontine nucleus. Okay? Understood? They are called as the pontine nucleus. Okay? Now similarly we have the lower part of the pons. The same structures will be there. You will have the lemnisci, got it? You will have the pontine nucleus. You will have the nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. In addition to this, you will have the nucleus of tractus solitarius. You will have the nucleus of tractus solitarius. You will have the nucleus of abducent nerve. Got it? Okay, and you will have the vestibular nucleus. You will have the various tracts that are present. Okay, that are present. So you just refer the diagram to the diagram from your book, figure number 25.7. Got it? In that everything is same. The cerebellar peduncles are same, the nuclei are same, the bundles are same, the lemnisci are same. Got it? The pontine nuclei are same. In addition to this, you will only have the nucleus of the abducent nerve. You will have the nucleus of tractus solitarius. Got it? And you will have the tracts. Got it? You will have the tracts, that is the anterior and the lateral spinothalamic tract. Got it? You will have the anterior and the lateral spinothalamic tract which are present. The nuclei will be the facial nucleus, the nucleus of tractus, the nucleus of tractus solitarius, the nucleus of cochlear nerve. Got it? Okay, the nucleus of the fifth cranial nerve, the olivary nucleus. So you just have to add these nuclei, and the diagrams are given very simple over here in your book, which you can always refer. Now next is the clinical anatomy. The clinical anatomy is pontine hemorrhage. Got it? Pontine hemorrhage. When there is hemorrhage present at the level of the pons, maybe due to rupture of artery, maybe due to accidents, maybe due to, got it? Maybe due to anything. There can be maybe due to increased blood pressure. Anything can be the cause. Got it? When there is pontine hemorrhage, got it? Then there will be bilateral paralysis of the face. Got it? There will be bilateral paralysis of the face and the limbs. Got it? Due to involvement of the seventh cranial nerve and the corticospinal fibers. Got it? Due to involvement of the nucleus of the seventh cranial nerve and the corticospinal fibers. Then if the reticular formation is included into this, then the patient will go into deep coma. Got it? If the reticular fibers are involved with the hemorrhage, then the patient will go into deep coma, and there is hyperpyrexia due to cutting off. See, the temperature is regulated. Got it? And by the hypothalamus. Got it? The temperature is regulated by the hypothalamus, and the hyperpyrexia is due to cutting off of temperature regulating fibers. So it is connected to, the pons is connected to the hypothalamus, and if the connection is cut off, then the temperature, the patient will unable to regulate the temperature. So you see, we are regulating the temperature. If it is hot outside, isn't it? We are regulating a temperature by sitting under the fan. There is excessive sweating and the body is maintaining our temperature. In winter season, do we have sweat? No. Why? Because the body needs heat. So we are regulating the temperature, isn't it? So and this is regulated by hypothalamus. And if the connection at the hypothalamus, the connection between the hypothalamus and pons is cut off, connection of the hypothalamus and pons is cut off, then what will happen? The temperature will not be regulated. Got it? Pinpoint pupil due to damage of sympathetic ocular fibers. Pontine hemorrhage is usually fatal. Got it? Pontine hemorrhage is usually fatal. And if you pass light to the pupils, the pupil will appear like a point of a pin. So this is called as pinpoint pupil. It is called as pinpoint pupil. Then next is the cerebellopontine angle. Got it? Anatomical structures located in the cerebellopontine angle includes choroid plexus, fourth ventricle, flocculus, seventh and eighth cranial nerves. Any tumor, got it? Any tumor at the junction of the cerebellum and pons. Got it? At the junction of cerebellum and the pons. Okay, will give got it? Will give rise to will give rise to complaints such as there will be ipsilateral paralysis of the face. Got it? Ipsilateral means paralysis of the face on the same side, and the anterior two-third of the tongue. Got it? And the anterior two-third of the tongue will be affected. Anterior two-third of the tongue will be affected. There will be no taste sensation. Got it? Anterior two-third of the tongue. Got it? Then there will be deafness and there will be vertigo. There will be deafness and there will be vertigo. Got it? There will be deafness and there will be vertigo because there is affection of the eighth cranial nerve. There is affection of the eighth cranial nerve, and you know the eighth cranial nerve helps in, got it, maintaining the equilibrium. And if the eighth cranial nerve is only involved, then there will be vertigo. Patient la satat chakkar liye. Okay? Then there will be ataxia. Ataxia improper gait. Improper gait. And this is due to affection of flocculus. This is due to affection of flocculus. Okay? This is due to affection of flocculus because flocculus is coordinating all the crude movements, isn't it? It is coordinating the crude movements. So, and then there will be absence of the corneal reflex. Got it? If you touch the cornea with the cotton, your eyes will immediately close, isn't it? That is the corneal reflex. So this, the patient will not be able to close the eyes. Okay? So that is the corneal syndrome. So usually any small lesion in the pons is very fatal and one has to take care, and all these conditions can be identified by, got it? Can be identified by the MRI and the CT scan, and accordingly there can be treatment of the patient. Okay, so that's all for the day. I hope you have understood. If you did not understand, okay, so now these are the things which are present in the pons. Okay, pons में the question asked, describe the anatomy of the pons, and you know the anatomy is very little. Where it is located and the features are also very little. It is the internal structure you have to mention. That is the internal structure of the pons, the internal TS section passing to the upper part of the pons. That is the fourth ventricle and the lower part of the pons, where various tracts and nuclei are present. So you have to write about those things. You have to draw the diagram and you have to write. The most important is the pontine hemorrhage. So see, there are so many nuclei which are present in the pons, so anything can be damaged and there can be hemorrhage. And as you know, the brain has got rich blood supply of blood. Okay, so they can ask you describe the anatomy of pons, or they can ask you the transverse section passing to the upper part of pons, or transverse section passing to the lower part of the pons. Okay, so for that you have to draw the diagram and you have to mention the various nuclei, the various tracts that are passing from the pons over here. Okay, so I hope you have understood. If you have any difficulty, you can always ask for your difficulty. Okay, understood? That's all. Stay home, stay safe, take care, and start studying for your exams.